Hey guys, welcome to your monthly celestial report for September 2024. I'm Candace, the founder of Course It's Miracles, A Course in Miracles. And we've got a lot to cover this month with major things happening, including Uranus going retrograde and a partial eclipse. But before I get into the report, I kind of want to go over with you how I read the energy report every month, just in case you're not familiar with some of these modalities, so you can get a better understanding of what I'm actually talking about. So, first of all, if you look at this image here, if you're on YouTube looking at this, it is just the circle that would be considered the astrology circle that we're all talking about, like your birth chart or your natal chart. This is just the celestial wheel. This wheel is housed in every aspect. Our DNA is in the same spiral. All energy is interpreted within this spiral, not just astrology. Okay. So while I cover the astrology houses, planets, and transits and aspects, I also then go in and look at the human design, the gene keys, the Sabian symbols, and this month, even the tarot, because those also fit within this deacon wheel, okay? And this just gives you a better understanding of the symbology and the energy that's happening right now. Now, if you look at this chart, you'll see these hexagrams on the outside of the circle. That is called I Ching. It is an ancient Chinese, almost like you can use it to cast out to get just an idea of the energy, but it fits perfectly within this deacon or this circle, and it's associated with a number. Gene keys, human design, and I Ching, no matter if it's the hexagram or the number, are all the same thing. They all fit very well together. And they cover 6 degrees of the circle. So it's like a bigger chunk of the energy of the astrology circle. So we always go over that. And then we look at the Sabian symbols, which is the specific degree that that planet is sitting on within the house in astrology. Tarot also fits within that circle. So we then look at the tarot because it kind of gives you an idea if this is something happening on earth, if this is something intellectual, if this is an emotional process that you have to go through, just so that you have a full understanding. Now, if you don't know anything about human design, it's all about how that energy moves throughout the body and how we interact with the energy in the world, kind of like our makeup on earth. Gene Keys, on the other hand, looks at that energy and says that there's a negative and a positive. There's an extreme and then there's a lower sense of that energy. So it always covers the shadow, which would be the lower energy of an idea, let's say, and then it gives you how you get from the lowest energy to the highest frequency so that you can decide if you are going to feel, for instance, oppression, or if you were going to feel some sort of release and abundance or bountifulness. So it's always going to cover the lowest expression of the energy and the highest expression of the energy. And it's a really good insight because if you're feeling a certain type of way, you can look at this and say, you know what? That's the shadow of that energy. I don't have to feel the shadow of that energy. I know that energy is present. I can feel the highest version of that energy just as much as the shadow. So this is how I read every single month, that and some channeling. And I really think that it gives you a full breakdown of the energy. So, with that, let's get into what's happening this month so we can cover everything. We're going to go date by date. If you are interested, if you go to the Patreon this month, I'm going to have this as like a breakdown of the day and how you should use the energy. There's a lot of aspects happening and a lot of transits happening this month. So you can see September 2nd, this is what I should be doing. Here's the shadow of that energy. Here's how I get to the highest frequency. It's going to be in the free section of the Patreon. So you can just go in there and sign up for free and you'll be able to download it. Welcome to the monthly celestial guide of Course It's Miracles, A Course in Miracles podcast. I'm your host, Candace Johnson. In this monthly update, we will explore the current energies from a symbolic perspective, using tools like the I Ching, astrology, and human design. Our aim is to help you better align with your divine timeline and make the right choice. Join me as we dive deep into the cosmic influences of the month and uncover the wisdom they hold for our spiritual journey. Let's get started. Okay, so we start off the month with major transits. September 1st starts off with Uranus stationing retrograde and Pluto going, which is in retrograde as well, going back into Capricorn. Now, when we're looking at these planets, these are these slow moving planets. They don't just affect you on a personal level, like let's say a Mars or a Venus, which is considered a personalized planet, right? These are going to affect us on a collective level. So everyone will be feeling this energy, and everyone will probably notice this energy in our reality or our projected field. Now, when you got Uranus, the planet of change, it's really trying to get you to where you need to be by sometimes having to destroy something to rebuild it, giving you a moment like almost like lightning hitting something where you get an electrical charge. You might get more information coming in to help you kind of realign to where you need to be. With it going backwards, it's almost like you going over changes you've already gone over. And I don't know if this has been something that you have been personally dealing with, but even for me, it's like a re-editing of everything and making sure that everything is just right before we move to this next season. With Pluto going back into Capricorn, Pluto has been making this transit and really trying to get us to transform. Pluto is all about death and transformation, bringing out a new version of our reality and ourselves. Going back into Capricorn, a very earthy sign, it's really trying to get us to learn how to climb that peak. Capricorn is all about the mountain goat. He's climbing a mountain. He's got somewhere to get to. He's really trying to reach his goals, trying to make sure that those goals are right before Pluto moves into Aquarius, which is all about the collective, all about the other. I don't know what you're working on right now, but it really is about ensuring that you're not doing it specifically for the self. And I'm getting that energy all over the place. I don't know if you listened to last month or the month before the energy reports, but everything is trying to get us to get into the right groups, find our people, and work on trying to do something not so solely for the self, but for the collective. And that's the energy we're heading towards in 2025. And these are the last dances of the planet as they both, Uranus is also in Taurus. These are earthy signs. These are things we're going to notice in our physical reality, trying to get us to change things and to grow and to work for something bigger than ourselves. So as we go through this report, these planets are going to come up again and again. I want you to think about how you are giving to receive and what your gift is and how you are serving the collective, and that is where that abundance is going to take place. Okay, now Uranus station retrogrades between 27 and 26 degrees of Taurus this month, so it's moving back from 27 to 26. By the end of the month it'll be at 26 degrees, and this is connected to the I Ching Human Design and Gene Keys Gate 8. This is all about holding together, learning how to contribute to the group to reach your highest self. So if you looking at YouTube, I have an image of the lotus flower here. And what I get when I think about this is, imagine trying to grow a lotus flower in the sand in the desert. You're not going to get much from the seed. It's going to be very frustrating for you. It's never going to grow. It needs water. It needs humidity. It literally sits at the bottom of, like, let's say a pond. It needs frogs. It needs dragonflies. In the right environment, that lotus is going to flourish. In the wrong environment, that lotus ain't going to do nothing. You are that lotus. So it's really about ensuring that you are in the right groups with the right frequencies, in the right alignment with the right people, where you can really plant yourself, put down those roots and those foundations, and grow to your highest level. In the I Ching, it's called holding together. And it's really about, in Gene Keys, they call it like the diamond self. How are you supposed to flourish if you're not in the right space? The people around you, they can't hear you. They're not getting what you're putting down. It's only when we get into these dynamics and these groups are we able to really reach the next level. See, even for instance, doing this YouTube, if I'm not finding the right audience, my message is null. It means nothing. When I find the right audience, my message can spread. I can grow. And Uranus has really been here for 3 months in this same energy. You have been looking for your tribe or looking to start your own tribe. It's all about ensuring that you are resonating and magnetizing the experience necessary for you to thrive. And really, when you comes down to it, in the Sabian symbol, it's called calm wisdom that grows with age. And it's an old Native American woman selling beads. Okay. Now, you could see her in two ways. You could see, oh, this poor woman, she doesn't have a real job. She's not working a 9 to 5. She out here selling beads. But in reality, she's doing something that is so culturally ingrained in her. This is all about her ancestors. She probably knows a lot about these beads. She could have possibly made these beads from scratch using the natural resources around her, and the right people can find her and will be so happy to have these beads. She is in the right place for her. We have to really start considering, are we in the right place for us? And if not, where do you have to go to get there? What do you have to be doing to ensure that you are? Okay. Now, with Pluto going back into Capricorn, it's given us a little taste of what it's going to be like to be an Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is all about the water barrier. It's all about the collective. It's all about doing for the other to gain for the self. Okay. And when I think of the water barrier and I think of water, I think of energy. Water is consciousness. And almost like this goddess pouring water down to earth, giving us the nourishment that we need, but also giving us more energy from the gods, from the skies, from source. And that energy serves everybody. That's information for us to utilize. While Pluto is transiting back into Capricorn, it's all about limits and connections. That is the I Ching here. And it's connected to the human design gate. It's called the gate of acceptance. And it's about surrendering where you are and then seeking out what is available to you in the environment. And what is available to the environment? The environment is there for you. And in the gene keys, it's called the cracking of the vessel. You will crack, crumble, break. You have to if you're not in the right place. And that's the only way you're going to get in the right place. So there's this squeezing. I have this image of this lemon here squeezing out the juice. Okay. They're trying to get everything out of us in this Capricorn sign before it moves back to Aquarius. Now, Capricorn, again, is that mountain goat. He's all about climbing to get to the top, trying to reach his goals, trying to get to where he needs to be. Also, Capricorn represents when he's climbing this mountaintop. When he gets to the top of the mountain, he's going to be able to see how much snow is at that peak of that mountain and know what energy or what water is going to be coming down to nourish the plants in spring, because not only is it rain that nourishes the plants, but the water from the mountaintops, when it melts, it comes down and it provides the nourishment for the plants. So he kind of can see from a higher view and see what's necessary in the field to ensure that what you are growing will actually get the nourishment that it needs. And then when it gets to Aquarius, that nourishment comes down. Now, really, I want you to think about here, you really have to use your intuition. It's asking you to utilize your intuition. There's a lady here on this image of her looking in a what do you call a crystal ball, and learning how to read the energy within you to kind of know where you're supposed to climb and where you're supposed to just stay and rest for a minute. And it's going to limit you on purpose, because when it does, it provides you with a place to find more in your current environment. I know as a group, as an individual, we're always trying to grow, 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 grow. But in reality, and sometimes this is something that I always have to tell the Capricorn, you got to stop on one of these peaks, and then you got to look out and actually enjoy the view and see what else is in the field for you here. All right. Because there's more there. There's more there, I would say. And when you take a moment on these peaks and you really look out, instead of trying to keep going up, if you say, you know what, I can't find the next jumping place, if you're a goat, right? Because you can fall down to the bottom really quickly. You got to find the right safe place to jump from. For a minute, stay here. See what else you need to do in this space before you move on to the next thing. And because, again, Pluto is going backwards, it's giving us a chance to pull more in before we move on to the next thing. When we look at the Sabian symbols, the interpretation of this is, again, the spiritual messages. I went over that. And that is where it's talking about your intuition is going to tell you what to do. Trust your intuition, trust your gut feeling. And it's going to give you the idea of where you need to go, where this message is, how you need to move next. And if you really look at where you're not moving and you don't go towards the resistance and you see where you do have openings and pathways, that's where you're going to want to utilize your intuition and go in that direction. And that's going to allow you to pull more from the environment. Now, when we look at the tarot of this, we've got the foolish man. This is the fool in tarot. And I want to cover this card a little bit. Okay, so the fool is always on the side of a mountain cliff. Now, the fool in the hero's journey is always us. It's us trying to go on this new journey. It's always the beginning of a journey. Pluto represents this energy. Now he has standing on the edge of a cliff. The water next to the cliff is just torrential. It is just an abyss. You take one step, you're going over the edge, you might not survive. But he's got a couple of good things with him. One, he's got the sun shining down on him. And if you're a Course in Miracles student, you know that the sun is Jesus. It's our bridge. It's our source. It's our higher self. It is that we have everything we need when we have the sun in this image. He also has the dog next to him. And in this image, if you're looking at my Hermetica tarot deck, you see that there is a wolf almost. He's got him chained. He's got him next to him. This is all about protection is always with you. You are fully protected on this journey. You're not going to fall off of the edge of the cliff. This guy's looking pretty confident standing on the edge of this cliff, and he's got a bag with him. And in those bags are all the tools that you need, okay? Everything that you need. It's your past. Some of it you might need to drop off. It might be a heavy bag that's asking you to shake it loose to keep going on this journey. Other things are your wands, your swords, your pentacles, and your cups. You've got all of the things necessary within this environment to win it, to kill it, to thrive, all right? And then he's holding this rose, which represents just this purity, this innocence. You are pure, innocent, unsullied being able to go on this journey. And I think it's telling us to take a minute on this cliff. Don't jump over to the side and see what is all in the surroundings. What can you pick up next to you that's going to help you on this journey and put it in your bag? Okay. Now on September 2nd, we've got Mercury trining Chiron, Mars squaring Neptune, and a new moon in Virgo, okay? So first of all, don't forget Uranus and Pluto, you're going to be dealing with energy all month, next 3 months, okay? Because they're not really going anywhere. So you've got to keep that as your overall theme, okay? And these smaller planets are going to help you. They're going to be doing a lot of little movements to help you figure all of this energy out. But Mercury, remember, I don't know if you heard my last reading, but I'm going over a new 5D way of looking at astrology from a more enlightened source. This has evolved, okay? So Mercury is like the walkie-talkie to God. This is how we communicate with source. And it's in Leo. Leo is our projected field. It's what we create. Everything that you create is in front of you. You can taste it, touch it, smell it, feel it, think it, everything that's here, all right? If it's trining Chiron in Aries, Aries is the I am. It is the soul essence and almost like the avatar body that you came in with, all of the personality, all of the zest, all of the spice that you utilize in this creation, with Chiron being the wound planet. It is where our biggest wounds are. And it's really trying to pull out those traumas, trying to pull out those self-doubts so that we can get rid of them. All right. So if Mercury is trining Chiron, you're getting some communication about this wound so that you can heal it. God is talking to you. And what's he telling you? And of course, in Miracles, he's telling you you're pure, you're perfect, you ain't got no problems. So when we look at these wounds as they start to fizzle up to the surface, you got to remember that they are illusions. Mars is squaring Neptune. Now, Mars is in Gemini, and this is all about how we communicate. Gemini is our communications, the twins. And if you think about how two twins work together, they can sometimes read each other's minds. They have their own language. They are two of the same thing. And it's all about like your expressions, how you express yourself in this reality. And Mars is the planet of force, inertia, that masculine energy, how you go get it. And it's telling you with a square to Neptune. Neptune is the dream planet. It's all about that deep hidden dream that's within us that we can't really touch, taste, smell. We don't know what it is, but we know we keep trying to get it. We know we came here to do something more. We know we have a mission on Earth. It's all about that, okay? And Neptune has been in Pisces. So it's Pisces is almost like the womb, I call it. We're birthing this new mission on Earth. And it's really trying to build, if you think of a baby, it's building the bones, the lungs, the skin, all of that is still being built within in Pisces. And when it gets to Aries next year, then it's going to birth on the planet something new. Aries is like the start of the year. Squaring Mars, you got to really think that we've got some force about what our creation is. We've got some momentum. We've got some inertia to kind of fulfill this dream, to continue building it. It's going to give us a little extra oomph to get it done. And then this new moon in Virgo to me is all about how you harvest your abundance, all the seeds that you've sown, where they are in this reality field. And remember, it's all here for us. Everything is here all right now. Time isn't real. It's all stacked on top of each other. It's all here. That abundance is here. With the new moon, it's really trying to get us to manifest, to create, to see what is new and what else we need to bring into this field, what else we need to call in so that we can accomplish those goals. Okay. The moon is a portal, plain and simple. And when that dark portal is in, we have the opportunity to kind of like see through the universe and communicate through the environment and pull in more through that portal. And September 2nd, so again, we're going to go over this in detail. We've got the Leo Trine Chiron, and both of them are 22. I think that's a really poignant sign. And then if you look at the I Ching here, if you're looking at YouTube, we've got 4 on one side and 4-2 on the other side. 2s and 4s really giving me the feel uh, of something with one, structure on Earth, because 4 equals the square and it's all about how things are built. And then 2 is all about how 2 lights come together to create something new. If you think of 2 cells coming together, it creates the third. That's how we're born. That is how all cells and atoms kind of get together to make more. So, and the next thing I want you to notice is that Chiron is in a fire sign and Mercury is in a fire sign. So again, we've got this idea of this inertia or this burst of energy allowing us to get through this time and also giving us the juice we need to heal those wounds. Okay. So we've got a trine here. I got to go over this first. Trines are the number 3. Father, Mother, Son, the Holy Trinity. Okay. So this is a really good aspect. It's calling in the masculine, the feminine, and the creative forces. These 2 things are working together to really help you heal these wounds. It's a really good aspect. So Mercury is connected to the I Ching of and the gene keys and the human design of 4. It's called youthful folly. Intolerance versus forgiveness through understanding. Okay. Is there a circumstance in life that you have failed to comprehend, perhaps because you didn't appreciate its inherent complexities? Be respectful of anything or anyone who has something to teach you right now. If you are focused on a relationship, ask yourself which of you is currently the student and which of you is the sage. If you are a parent, ask yourself who is being the teacher, my child or me? Story time. Okay. I wasn't even going to bring this up until I did the deep dive, but I got to talk about this. Last weekend was a very dramatic time for me. Okay. I was a lot in the shadow and really a lot about abundance. I'm getting ready for this pop-up and I needed funding to do the pop-up. And I had to call my investor and ask for it. And he had the nerve to ask me for my numbers. And I was like, I hate to send my numbers. I hate to have to prove myself to anyone. This sucks. So as I'm going through this experience of having to prove my worth, which at the same time, the lesson that I was looking at in A Course in Miracles is that you don't have to defend yourself against anyone. This isn't a defense. There's a lot of lessons here. Okay. A couple of things came in to help me get through this energy. So after I was in the boos and the cries and the feeling bad and the why not me's, okay, that's where I was going. Over the weekend, I got a lot of great insight into what that means. And I'm going to just tell you about my stepdaughter because yesterday she sat across from me in a mood, honey. She was a moody Judy. And school started this week, so she's exhausted from just having to be somewhere for 8 hours a day. And she was just not in the right mood. And I was asking her what was going on. And she was telling me that her bestie is just boastful. And she is like, why does she get all of the good things and I don't get any of the good things? And I was thinking, like, well, what does she have that you don't have? Let's go there first. And then the first thing she mentioned was headphones. And she's got all these brand new headphones and I don't. And I said, you just got new headphones 2 months ago. What are you talking about? You have new headphones. I forgot. So I said, what's the next thing that you forgot that she boasted about? A harmonica. And I was like, there's a harmonica sitting on the shelf over there. I ain't never seen you pick up a harmonica. I forgot we had it. And then the next one was, well, what's the other thing that she has that she's boasting about that you don't have? A guitar. There's a brand new guitar in that den over there, sitting there, and it's just collecting dust with 2 books to teach you how to do a guitar. All summer long, when you were bored, you could have been playing guitar and you forgot you had it. You didn't even realize that you had this in your field, and you're over here with the why not me's. Literally, she said that. Why does she have all this stuff and I don't have any of this stuff? And boom, did she not become the teacher? This was me just 3 days ago. Okay. Not seeing what I actually have and over here crying and missing out on the gifts and the things that I have in this reality field that can serve me. So always, always at the time, okay, just 2 days ago, my Course in Miracles lesson was everything is the echo of God, all of the things in your creation. And these are echoes. These are things trying to get you into the right place and see where your mind is. So it happened right in front of me and I could not deny it. So look for these nuggets in your environment to tell you where you are, okay? And they're going to really give you, I'm sorry if you heard a glitch there, you're going to really get the insight necessary to move forward. Now, in human design, it is the gate of formalization. Each person in our life is a mirror of us. Okay, were we not sharing a vibration there? They are a reflection of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is what we must remember. So when we come across something that triggers us, we have to take that energy, flip it on its head, and see where we may be the screw up. Okay? See where you need to go. How and why are we so attached emotionally to the outcomes, actions, and lives of others? I could have just gotten super pissed and told her she was ungrateful and taken all of those things from her. Instead, I was trying to, I probably didn't do it very well, but implement to her that it's almost, if you can't see the gifts, if you can't take a minute to breathe and to say, you know what, maybe she's not being boastful towards me. Maybe she's just sharing something with me. And I could say, oh my gosh, I got new headphones too, and I'm loving them. They're pink. They're my favorite color. I took them on my trips this summer. Or, I've got a guitar sitting in the living room that I haven't touched. I should pick up the guitar too. Maybe we can play together. There were all these moments, but learning how to look at the things going on in your environment and instead of immediately being triggered by them, being able to take a minute to see how you fit vibrationally and where you can learn something instead of letting your emotions take over, okay? And just going in the wrong direction. And again, the shadow here in Gene Keys is intolerance because we let our emotions get in the way of the human experience. We don't allow ourselves a moment to remember that we create these emotions. Deep dive that I did last time was all about the projection and how that energy comes in. Your senses feel it. It goes up to your brain. It looks at the past to determine what it's going to be. We then decide what it is and we emotionally react to it. But we can decide to emotionally react in a positive way or a negative way. That's where our free will comes in. That's when the choice is up to us. Is this a good thing coming in my environment, or is this a bad thing coming in my environment? That's all up to you, okay? So if you looked at this from the idea of having to then forgive others in your environment from where you think they are the problem, and remember that vibrationally you wouldn't even be able to perceive them if they weren't, you have to have some sort of vibrational resonance there for you to even be able to hear it, touch it, taste it, smell it, experience it. It wouldn't be there for any other reason. And then be able to look at it from a detached perspective, from a larger perspective, see the patterns. There's a pattern there, okay? See the pattern in the experience. so that you can then break those emotions and forgive, saying, thank you for showing me this, where I was acting like a 9-year-old. Okay. If you were to look at this from the tarot perspective, it's really connected to the idea of strength. Leo is all about strength, and in my Hermetica, it's called fortitude. And forgiveness ain't easy, but everybody got to do it. Okay. This is the hardest thing that I think in creation that we have as our journey right now, is learning to forgive, because it takes a lot of gumption. It takes a lot of you to be able to admit when you are wrong so that you can make the right decision. So if you look at this lady on this card, she's got this shield here. She is caressing this lion, and she's got a cup throwing out the flames, just like she's like, I'm going to release my emotions of, I'm going to release these ideas of what I think something is. I'm going to release this flame almost of just anger and all of these things that I could think about, all these fears. And I'm going to just pet this lion, this giant thing that can eat me. This is what strength is all about. It's allowing yourself to notice that it is an illusion, and fear is a stranger here. I am home. I don't need fear to determine what to do next, because when we get to that place of forgiveness, why it's so hard for us is because we become scared. Another card that's associated with Mercury is the Magus, or the magician. Okay. Now, if you know anything about the magician and tarot, and this is where I'm going to stop and tell you that I have a tarot course coming. If you go to my website, at the description here, you can sign up. I'll let you know when the tarot course is coming out. And it looks at 3 different tarot cards and reads all of the symbology, and then goes over the hero's journey, so you get a full understanding of what the tarot means. Look at him. He is holding up this scepter to the skies, and it's like he's capturing the energy from source. And on the ground near his foot are all the different it's the cups, the wands, the pentacles, and the swords. Okay. So when you go through tarot, the first is that you are the fool in the journey. And then you meet with the magician and you gather all of the tools that you came here with. So you don't even go on a journey. You get the tools immediately. The emotions, the thoughts, how you think, the pentacles, everything that you need in your creation, and the cups, I said the cups is your emotions. I'm sorry. And the fire, which is like the oomph, the manifestation, the drive to get it. So if you put these two together, this strength and the magus, you've got all the strength to utilize the tools in your current environment to get through these traumas that are coming up with this Chiron. And in this image here, you see a little passenger pigeon. And it's because it's like all of this is like a gift coming. You get these messages coming in from this outer environment that are coming straight to you. Your job to use them to get to the next level. Your job to determine if they're messages or if they're just something you're going to ignore or discard. Now, something else I want you to know, Chiron connected to Aries. What happens when you get over these traumas? What happens when you can transgress these traumas or these energies? And what is the trauma? What is this deep trauma that we are actually being communicated with that we need to transgress? So it's connected to gate 42 in human design, I Ching and Gene Keys. It's all about increase. If you think you are going to get ahead by being self-serving, you are wrong. That energy is dead. This is all about releasing the selfishness and allowing for the idea that when you give, you get, period. I receive miracles by giving them is a core lesson in the Course in Miracles, okay? I receive miracles by giving them. What I give, I get back. We don't live in the old world anymore. I definitely think the energy has transgressed. There are 2 worlds. You can see them very clearly if you even step on social media or read the news for 5 seconds. There are the people over here. There are people over here. No judgment about where you are. No judgment about where anybody else is. But at this point in the universe, at this point, if you are trying to be successful, you've got to get over yourself. It cannot be self-serving. That is not working for anybody on the planet. We need you to serve the other. We need you to serve the collective to then get the gifts that are going to keep coming to you when you do. It's like you're throwing out a boomerang and it's going to come back triple. It's going to come back quadruple. You're going to get even more when you keep throwing that boomerang out. Give it all. You'll get it all. Okay. This is connected to the gate of growth in human design. You can reach your maximum potential. Your resources can be expanded, but it's going to take a level of commitment, a level of giving, a level of trusting. Reason we don't give is because we're afraid if we give it all, we have to hoard our resources. Who's not? Do you see the hoarding of the resources right now? Who is it helping? But a very few. Okay? We get so scared about giving because we think that the moment you give that it leaves you, when in reality it expands your energy field, and you cannot, energy is all connected, so it actually is an expansion of your energy field, which then allows you to magnetize and experience more. This is how you're going to reach your full potential. Okay, letting go of living and dying is like really the idea here. And when we think that we're going to give something away, there is this fear of death. There's this fear that we won't have enough. There's this fear of scarcity. This is this fear that I'm going to be homeless. I'm not going to have anything. I'm not going to have enough to feed my family, to feed myself, and I'm going to die. That's where we go when we know death is not real. That's all an illusion. Your consciousness lives on forever. And that's not how the game works. But that's how they got us here thinking. Okay. So we're going to have to really, this trauma is within everybody in the environment right now, where we notice the prices of things are going up and we might not be able to feed our families. And it's through giving that we can all win. But if we all decide to individually hoard, what, we gonna be on this planet alone? Why do you want to be here with nobody else, with all your bags of water and all your grains that you locked up in a thing so that somebody else could starve and you could eat? Okay, it's not going to work anymore. And the Sabian symbol here is this gate to the garden of desire. That's the door in front of us now. So there's a level of detachment necessary to see where you are potentially hoarding and not giving. You kind of have to look back at the story to see how you're moving here. Are you a giver or are you a taker? That's the question that I want you to ask yourself. Are you a giver or are you a taker? Okay. And then I want you to think about, when you decide to give, when you decide to trust, when you decide to let go, there's this gate in this garden that you're going to walk through. It could be the Garden of Eden, which is a mind thing. It's all about, we have everything that we need. That's where all of our abundance is. Okay. When you decide to do this, what gifts, what is there for you on the other side of that gate? In tarot, this is connected to the emperor. And the emperor here is this bomb ass man sitting in this chair. He's connecting and collecting from this portal up here that you see. And I'm telling you, the portal is the moon. And you see these atoms flowing out of this ball of darkness, as in more can come in for you. And he is holding up this lotus flower. He's holding up this scepter, and a ram's head is in his second hand. And he is saying that he's the son of the morning. Okay. He is the manifester, and he knows that when you give, you receive. And this portal is going to pour out more energy for you that you can capture when you can get into this energy of allowing that Chiron wound of, some people have a lot, some people have a little. If I want more, I got to hoard it. I got to save it all. I got to keep it all to myself. That's a wound in our collective field right now, okay, that we're all trying to get over. We have to get past that to then become the magus, to be able to become the master creator. You will expand your awareness, you will expand your energy, and then more can reach you through that energy field, okay? And it's all about forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves for the hoarding. We have to forgive others, because when you realize that hoarding is a sign of fear, and that the people you think the richest on the planet are the most scared, okay? And that they are holding on because they don't believe that they have enough. And you realize, I've been able to move and groove and do with so little. Imagine what's going to happen when I have more. And I'm not going to do it from a place of fear. I'm going to keep giving, giving, giving. Where will we be? We're going to be in that Garden of Eden. We're going to be on this other side of this gate. We're going to be in this greater, more expanded reality. And I'm ready to meet you there. Okay. I'm ready to go. You ready to go? Now, on this same day, we've got we've got Mars squaring Neptune. Okay. Now you got to think about air squaring up with water. Going to bring up a lot of emotions, churning them up, churning them up. But let's think about this, okay? Now, this is going to be a big one. Mars is at 28 degrees of Gemini, and we talked about Gemini being the twins and how you communicate with the other, what you're sharing. Everything about you is communicating. It's not just your voice, right? It's your way your face looks, it's the way your mood is. All of this tells a story to another person about how you really feel. And as I know, I'm talking to spiritual people here, people who are awakening, people who are trying to do the best that they can. Something tells me that we are willing to share, but we're holding back on something because we don't want to ruffle any feathers. And with Mars and Gemini, you're going to have to ruffle a few feathers. There's a force here about how you communicate and what you're willing to say versus the truth, versus what you know the truth is, versus what you know as a human being, to another where you're worried about messing with another or insulting another, when in reality you could be helping them and you could be helping them get to the next level. But this ain't the day to say anything. This is the day to realize that you're not saying everything. I'm going to tell you to be quiet on this day. And again, when you go to the Patreon for free, you'll get a calendar, and it, on this day, it's going to say, keep your mouth shut. Okay? And we're going to do this together. I'm going to have to remind myself with this calendar. That's why I'm doing it for you. There will be communication days. In I Ching, it's called a standstill, where you're going to be pulling back, staying low, and allowing time to pass. Okay? It's called the gate of caution in human design. Now, it's all about your audience. Are you playing to the right audience? Remember, Uranus and Pluto are working on how you are building up your collective so that you are resonating with people who are resonating with you. And if you are not in the right audience, it doesn't matter what you say, they cannot hear you. Your words are null and void. They mean nothing. It's like playing at a rock and roll concert when everybody showed up to hear classical. They no matter how good your set is, they've already pissed because that wasn't what they expected. Okay. So it's better not speaking. The less you say, the better. This is a day to really be still. It's a new moon day, so you should be still anyway, to go in, to focus on meditations, and to really hit the reset button. Okay. In human design, this is linked to the shadow of vanity, thinking you know best and learning through like this discrimination of like thinking that you have all of the answers. And it's connected to the larynx. It's connected to speech. It's connected to communicating in the wrong room. It's connected to your vanity of thinking that when you speak, you'll get the attention that you need to do what you want to do on 3D reality for your abundance, right? Abundance doesn't have to just be money. It could be love. It could be friendship. It could be a network of people, all of this. You got to learn that you cannot be enchanted by the inauthentic. Okay, so let's detach ourselves from this concept for a second and take it down through another idea, okay? You know when someone's bullshitting you. You know when someone is lying. You know when they are being inauthentic. Everything in your being is saying, that's some bullshit. That ain't the truth. They're not telling the truth. They're not telling the truth. And you know that they have an agenda behind what they are telling you. And sometimes, especially those of us who are empaths, especially those of us who are intuitive, we love to call people on their BS, okay? But, it is not always our place. Why? Because they have a journey that is all their own, okay? That doesn't include us, where allow them to continue to spread the BS and allow the collective over time to teach them the lesson that they need to know. Because if you try to teach them the lesson that they need to know, it will fall on deaf ears and might actually work against you. And they just start spreading the BS even louder. Okay. Now, this is where I'm going to say it doesn't require arguing, fighting, or preaching. It requires you to be quiet and allow other people to learn their lessons in their own time, because they got a journey just like you got a journey. You're going to see this all over the place. You've been seeing this in politics. They have been spreading these things to you. They have been trying to enchant you with their messages, and you can smell the bullshit, right? Doesn't matter what side you're on. You're smelling something and you know it ain't right. It's a little funky in the air. This ain't your time to go around and try to tell people in this political field who are going one side or another what they should be doing, who they should be voting for, what yada, 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 yada. You got to let people make their own decisions and go wherever their emotional waves are sending them on their own. But you got to hold your core, okay? Give yourself some time here to allow more information to come in and to allow the experience to play out without you, with faith, knowing that it doesn't really even have to include you. It's not your business. Okay. Now, in the Sabian symbols, this is about being supportive through trial and error process. People sometimes need to fail. People sometimes need to fall. People sometimes need to be on the brink. People sometimes, what do they say it when it's an addict? It's like they have to hit their own low point. You can't get them to rise up. They have to do it on their own. They have the power. You disempower people when you try to help them when they're not willing to help themselves. You got to know that they have inertly within them everything that they need to fulfill all of the things that they need in their own environment. Don't see them as a victim. You only keep them back. Know that they can get over it. They can do it, that this might be a role that they're playing on earth to shake things up. You don't know why they're here. You don't know why they're doing what they're doing. But it's like through bankruptcy, society gives an overburdened individual opportunities to begin again. That's where that reset button comes in, okay? People get the chance to renew themselves in their own time without us in their ears. Now, in tarot, this is connected to the 9 of Wands, okay? Now, you've got that sun in the middle. It's like you want to connect with source. You want to say something, but that sun's all broken up. It's going to come out uneven, raggedy, and no good. And then the sword, which is all about how you communicate, how you intellectualize something, how you think about something. That sword's all crooked. It's covered in brambles and mess. This is Mars and Gemini, okay? In the Hermetic Tarot. This is telling you that the thing you're trying to get out is going to be jumbled up. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to get anywhere. It's not going to say what you think it needs to say. Keep your mouth shut. Okay. I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you. And then we've got the Queen of Wands. Okay. This is all about that Gemini, this energy of, this is the energy of Pisces going to Aries with this Neptune. I'm going to get into this next and talk about Neptune a little bit. But this idea that you're fired up because of this information. You have something in you that's going to be forcing you to want to say something. Write it down, journal it out. You're going to get your chance again at some point. It's just not today. But this idea of Neptune being, it's your mission on earth to tell people the truth. It's your mission on earth to help change the collective. And you're going to have a lot of energy and a force and drive of wanting you to do that. Okay. But it ain't your time yet to do that. And we have to remember we are working within the 3D reality of time. That's where we have to move. Okay. But it's learning how to hold still, journal it out, come up with courses, come up with ideas, come up with a plan. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Okay. This is where I'm going to stop and tell you that you're working on your larynx here. It's telling you to choke it, hold it in. And you're going to probably feel a lot of tension in the throat chakra. We have a chakra course that you can find in the description in the bio. It's right there for you. This course uses your own sound, your own resonance to clear your chakras. I take you through each chakra in this course, and you learn how to use your sacred breath and your sacred sound. You ask the chakra what sound is necessary to clear it, and then you just literally ride the wave of that sound down. We do it a couple of times, and it's going to help you clear these chakras up. This is what you should be doing on that day. You can find more about it in the description in the bio. It's an excellent course. You will also find wonderful skincare, farm-grown holistic products from me, Candace, farmer, formulator, herbalist behind Luluti Skincare. When you subscribe to the newsletter, you get 20% off of all of it. All right. So check that course out. Do some chakra clearing on this day. And really, I want you to focus in because there's a little bit more we got to cover on this day. Remember, we got a new moon. And I haven't really covered Neptune because Neptune is connected to the gate of innocence. And it's all about this. You're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings when you feel this force. You're trying to help the people. I know what you're trying to do. You're not trying to make anybody feel bad. You're not trying to make anybody feel shame or guilt. We don't do that in our Course in Miracle students or our spiritual students. That's not what we came here to do. We are just trying to help the collective. That's why we want to speak, right? And you are innocent. You do have this level of learning to treat other creatures with compassion and respect. This is what this is about. Those with a pure heart are best guided by their instincts and intuition. Thinking too much severs links with the guidance of the heart. Be wary of courses of action that require too much cleverness. Okay, so we talked about how in Mars, you're going to be dealing with people that are inauthentic, and it requires a bit of cleverness to communicate your message. And especially when it is an inauthentic message, the more clever you have to be. When you are speaking from the heart, it comes through you from source. You don't have to worry about any of that. That's what it's trying to get you to do. But it knows it needs to clear up some of this resonance field before you say anything. Learning to love without discrimination. Okay. Learning how that's what the human design is connected to, seeking the higher self, God, source instead of the ego. We want to make sure that this throat chakra is clear enough where you're not speaking from the ego, you're speaking through source. And in Gene Keys, it's learning to accept. And remember, people are just people. Humans are just true humans. They're not trying to fool anybody. They're trying to convince themselves. They're not trying to fool anybody. They're trying to convince themselves. They need to realize, you need to realize that they are not lying, they are insecure. Okay? They don't think they can win unless they lie. They don't think they can get it unless they're dishonest. That just shows you how insecure they are. It really is telling you that. In the I Ching, we talked about this last month, it's that prism, simultaneously looking for God and looking through God's eyes. So you're going to see these people as innocent, as hard as it is. You're going to see that they aren't really trying to dissuade you. They're trying to sway themselves and come up with a story for themselves that sounds like it means something, even though you know inherently that it's bullshit because you know how other people communicate. Just as much as Gemini means that is how you communicate, you can read another person and know if they're full of it or not, right? But our job is to see the God in everyone. You're going to have to see them as a child. You're going to have to see them as purely innocent. You're going to have to see their insecurities and their doubts, and then you're going to have to send them blessings. You're going to have to pray that they can get it together, okay? And it's going to really squeeze you into this place. It's really going to ask you to call in the higher self to help you get through this, okay? And then we have this new moon in Virgo. And this new moon, which is at 4 degrees of Virgo, really it's going back to that abundance. Okay. You know that your abundance is somewhere within that flaming sword of telling your truth. You know that your story, how you speak, how you communicate, all of your abundance is behind that. All right. But if you are viewing and judging people and circumstances and surroundings, this is include everyone, including politics, media, family, friends, everyone. If you are judging, you ain't ready yet. If you are judging, that's not how source wants us to communicate. That's not how we're going to get the message across. Okay. So there's going to be this opening of the heart, manifesting with this new moon to consider the abundance of your heart space and being able to clear out the gunk with that chakra course. You can get at the description in the bio so that you are able to communicate purely through source. That is what we're working on here in this manifestation. That's what I want you to ask for, so that you know deep in your soul when you speak, when you decide to communicate again, that it is coming from the right place and the right message is getting across. And then you only have to do it once. Okay. Small changes produce big results over time. And there's this thawing of the closed hearts, and they will improve the conditions for everyone. And if you see in the image here, I've got like this idea that everybody's supposed to win, okay? And Everything in the world right now is trying to separate us. I need you to remember that. It doesn't matter which side you're on. It doesn't matter who you believe is the right candidate or what's going on in the media, which side you're taking. If you are judging the other side, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Because no matter which side you're on, someone is being excluded. And they are using the energy of exclusion to fire us up to keep us separated. Okay? There's another way to look at this. It doesn't have to be either of them. Everybody's using the same tactic. Everybody's using insults. Everybody's going to try to keep you separated. They're going to be using this for the rest of the year. You're going to have to stay strong. Now, the Sabian symbol here is a Black kid playing with two white kids, and it's all about racial prejudice is evident of a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality, okay? Everything gets to be different on this planet and still get to be sacred. Everything on this planet is different. It's still all sacred. Everybody on this planet got their own ideas based on their own upbringing, based on their own filter, based on what they read, what they've been told, what they've been taught. They're still sacred. Freedom from prejudicial mental constructs, prejudice, mental constructs, and beliefs. Don't let them separate you. Don't let them see you from this box that they want to put you in. Don't let them let you see your neighbors from this box they want to put them in. That is where we're going here. That is what the whole point is. We have to be able to overlook that. We have to be able to ascend from that. We have to be able to see that from a higher space, because it's going to start coming really close to home soon, because that's the point. That's what they're trying to do. All right. If you are watching this video on YouTube and even the podcast, this has to be 2 parts. This is the first half. The second half is going to be uploaded right after it, because on my software, I only get 2 hours, and this is about 2 hours and 30 minutes. This is a really important month. So go to the next video. Now it's uploaded for you already, or go to the next podcast episode. It's uploaded for you already. Thank you.